Ghosty fam, Amy here. Welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where three soul friends talk about all things paranormal. Ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially The Dead Files, and other spooky and spooky adjacent things. We also like to interview people in the paranormal community, as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell your stories. I hope you enjoy the show. We want to welcome today Kayli.
Welcome.
Client from the Dead Files. Welcome, Kayli.
Hi, thank you. Hi.
And your episode was called Darkness Rises, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And this is the episode that we covered in our season premiere, our episode 93, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a bit since we've talked about it. Anyway, one of the things that, I'm Amy. We have the other Amy AP here, and then Megan.
Hi.
And
nice to meet you.
Thanks. So we want to, I always want to preface everything by saying anything that you're willing to talk about is cool by us.
Yep.
Anything you're not willing to talk about, absolutely cool by us too. It's all up to you, whatever you are comfortable with.
You're going to be kind of driving the interview, so
you don't have to run everything. I just want you to
no, but
feel
like
comfortable.
The talking points. Yeah. So if we ask you a question and you're not comfortable, totally fine to say, I really don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Or just,
So
just ask something else. I can't think of anything I would ask you that would be, I don't know about these two, but I guess the most.
You don't know my mind.
There's
That's
always
true. I do not.
There.
The thing that I want to make sure that we cover is if there's anything that you would like people to know that like the last one we did said that looks like AP.
What's going on with
going
AP?
I don't know.
I light some incense. You know what? My
flashed out. I haven't touched it at all. It's my upper camera. It just switched over.
Yeah, it did.
And it flipped out. It flipped out like the green and red lights were going.
now your voice just changed too.
Mm-hmm. It did.
It disconnected my microphone too.
Yeah, it did.
You better light some incense. Sage that shit.
Sage that shit. Where's your candle?
Yeah, where's your sage that shit candle? We have gremlins sometimes.
Yeah, we do.
I just want to make sure that if there's anything that happened in your episode, anything that maybe came out wrong or different or not what you, because the last person that we interviewed, it has not aired yet. The first thing she said is they got everything wrong. They changed the story. They made up shit. They made me look bad. Okay, good. Because I'm not good, but I want you to be able to talk about that.
And like clear the air.
We had a lot of tech problems with this episode. The first thing is that AP's camera started glitching and then her mic just crapped out. And that's what happened here. That's what you just heard. Normally, I would just cut all of this out, but since there is a slight chance that it's paranormal, it is the only explanation, I left some of these in. This happens at least 2 more times throughout the recording. And it's gremlins. I'm sure it's nothing you did. There's just some weird shit.
Right. So anyways, like we were saying, Kayli, is there anything that you want to let us know, let our listeners know about your episode before we kind of get into, asking you questions and stuff? It sounds like they got it all wrong for you too.
This is a weird day, everyone.
Oh my God. Is the moon void of course or something? Yeah.
And welcome.
No,
Thanks
we don't
for
have to
joining
start
us
over.
again.
We're so sorry. We're so sorry.
Having a little technical issues here. Hopefully we can get this going. And as soon
Is your shirt a Buffalo Bills sweatshirt?
Kind of. It says Buffalo Girl on it. But yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because you live in New York where it's near Buffalo?
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we have established is that Kayli has some tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do.
Okay. So what do you want our listeners to know about your episode and things that they wouldn't know just by watching it?
Or misconceptions that were presented via how the Dead Files showed your episode.
Yeah. Well, first I want to start by the crew Very nice. They are very nice.
Oh,
guys.
we've heard that. We've heard that from everybody we talk to, that the crew is really nice.
Yeah, the crew, especially, there's like 3 guys, Rob, Alex, and Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
The nicest guys you will ever meet. And they were great with my daughter. So I will say that's a positive.
That's a huge positive.
Yeah, exactly. And especially because my daughter was recorded for the episode.
Right.
It really helped with them being nice and helpful.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely misconstrued a lot of things. There was when we watched the episode where they talk about the babysitter from, I believe, the late 1800s, they didn't even tell us that. We had no idea that was a thing.
What?
Yeah, we didn't know that we didn't know until we watched the show. They left out a whole person that was, I guess, like haunting the home.
Yeah.
And they made it look like it was Verna when it was not her at all. She was
sure
nice.
did.
We talked about that before.
That's what Amy said too. Amy was like, I do not see the connection between these two.
There was no connection. And so the sketch artist drew a picture of Mary. We had a picture of her from the kids that were interviewed, Verna's kids.
Right.
And the sketch artist, to a T, drew her. But they didn't show that because it didn't line up with like what they were saying.
With their agenda.
Their narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, did the sketch artist see that picture of Mary before drawing it?
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay.
And also, like, the house was way worse than what they portrayed it. Like,
Really?
that was like a walk in the park. When I watched the episode, I was like, that's nothing what it was like. Like, me, my daughter, and my parents were sleeping in my parents' room because it was unsafe for me and my daughter to sleep in separate rooms. We had to sleep all together.
They had only said that your daughter was sleeping in there.
Yeah, she was sleeping.
They had the pillow, the mattress on the floor.
Yep, me and my daughter were sleeping on that mattress together because it was too unsafe for me to sleep.
Well,
why? I just don't understand why they're leaving all of this information out.
Well, the part with your brother, important. I can't recall his name at the moment.
Keenan, yeah.
Thank you. I'm not great with names. I'm great with faces, not names. But he made comments of that, you know, he had been in the house for 3 hours or whatever, and he was like, I had to get back out. But that was the room that you had been staying in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did I catch, was it only like a couple of months since from when they recorded to when you guys had moved in, or did they just kind of shorten that?
No, it was literally 2 months. So I had moved out, and with my daughter, me and my daughter had moved out, and my mother's health was declining because she had some health issues.
Yep.
And I'm a single mom, so my dad was helping me with like school, like pickups and whatnot too.
Yeah.
So I decided to move back in to help my dad with my mom, and then return
No
and then he was helping
judgments here at all.
My dad,
No, we are fully on board with people living with their parents.
Oh yeah. So we moved back in September, and they were there in November. That's how quick it was. Very quick.
And when did you reach out to them initially?
Oh, so my mom had reached out probably like 2 years prior, and then again a year prior. And then I reached out in like May of that year. And then my mom actually messaged Steve in the summer and was like, me and my daughter have been trying to reach out to you guys. And like, we've been emailing and whatnot. And he was like, actually, I know your story. I can't believe they haven't reached out yet. And then literally
oh my goodness.
Now she's upside down.
She's hanging off the ceiling. Oh my dear. This is where Kayli's vocals cut. We could hear her in real time, but the sound didn't make it onto the recording. Just like what happened with AP's earlier. Then, a few moments later, Kayli's video glitched, and then it turned her upside down, and it appeared that she was upside down on the ceiling. So, thanks a lot, Squadcast. We tried using it again. We haven't used Squadcast in a long time, but we thought for a remote interview, it would be good, and it was not. Sorry about that. Also, Megan had to dip out as she was not feeling well. So we paused this recording and restarted for take 4. Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I came down from the ceiling. That was super bizarre. Okay, so when we were so rudely interrupted by technology, you were saying that there was an entity in the house that they never talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Correct?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then and that the stuff that, I mean, if you want to go, if I'm jumping too far or whatever, and you want to go back to something, please tell me. I want to know what was going on in the house that they didn't show, because you said it made it sound like it was not as a big of a deal, and it was a very big deal.
We talked a little bit about why you ended up back at the house and how the path to get there. It was that you guys actually reached out to Steve, and he was kind of concerned that they had not reached out to you guys yet.
Yeah. And it's ironic because my biggest concern moving back into the home was the activity, because the activity was ramping up when we were leaving, and it just continued to ramp up. Yeah. So what they didn't show, actually one of the scariest moments, it was prior to, they were already planning on coming, but me and my daughter were laying in the mattress on the floor that they showed, and the bed was shaking. Our mattress was shaking. And my daughter had been sick, so in my mind, I thought she was having like a febrile seizure. But at the same time, something was touching my arm, and I was so tired. I couldn't wake up. And I'm not that type. Like, if my child's sick, I'm up. I'm at it. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't move. Nothing. And the bed was just shaking uncontrollably. And I was having nightmares at the same time. So that was probably one of the scarier moments.
How long did that go on for, the shaking that night?
It felt like forever, but at the same time, I couldn't. It was probably only like a few minutes.
Still,
things would like push my daughter all the time. She was petrified. Quite honestly, I haven't watched my episode since it aired because I just thought it just didn't do. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when we sat down to have the one-on-one with Amy and Steve, they showed the child, the little boy that was under her bed. Did they show that drawing in the actual episode?
Yep.
Remind me. Okay, that's what I thought.
Very creepy.
Yes. They kind of downplayed that as well in the episode. This thing was awful. Like, basically terrorizing her and everybody else. But Mary, who they didn't talk about, she was also one of the worst things ever. She hated us.
So who was Mary in history? Do we know? That was the one that they didn't tell us?
Yep, she was one of the wives. She was the third wife.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And she was awful. Like, if the kids, Verna's kids, they didn't get along with her. She was just not a good woman. She was nasty. She was mean. She was awful. She was brutal.
Yeah, I do feel like, and Megan called it out, and we've had a few episodes where it's like, I think they're trying too hard to peg this spirit with these things going on. And I feel like we did talk about this one because Verna from her family didn't seem like that kind of person in life. And it's very difficult.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
Oh, no. I was going to... You drive. But, to me, it seems like it would be really difficult for someone to be a peaceful, loving, however she was as a human. We all have our bad days, right? But it would be really hard to take that. And the way her kids talked about her too, like,
yeah,
they've been missing her for at that point almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't fit.
It was really sad to see how they portrayed her. Her kids called my mother crying and was like, how could they portray her like that? because like she was interactive with us. But like if me and my mom were having a conversation, you would hear a woman try to join our conversation. If we were baking in the kitchen, she would try to converse with us. Like, or you would like smell baking when you weren't baking. So like she was very much, yeah. She was nice. We liked her. We were like, if we don't have to get rid of her, we'll keep her, but like get rid of everything else.
Their story. So what caught me a little bit was her son said something about, because the dad passed away in 97 and she passed away in 98. So about, I think it was 11-month difference. She passed in January, but she called him and said something about how it was so difficult. How do you go on without the love of your life? But recently had that with my grandparents. So I can see that with my grandpa.
Yeah.
I think she froze again.
Oops. You froze again. This is where we had enough with Squadcast. It would only record for 6 minutes at a time, and then it would crap out. So we closed this and then continued on Zoom, where everything was calm.
None of it makes sense. Make it make sense, Amy. Make it make sense. I think it is kind of disheartening to hear, though, that we're uncovering a lot of stories aren't being told properly. I mean, we knew that there was some, like ways for that, but I mean, connecting to the fact that they're trying to push the spirits into being different people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not terribly surprised. I'm surprised more that we haven't heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
That Tracy, Annie, Randy, Lance, and Jennifer, that none of them had a problem or had these problems. Or if they did, they didn't tell us about it.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I love your pillow behind you, by the way. Sweater weather.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I think we'll just try not to interrupt you while you're talking so that it doesn't cut out your voice. Okay. So where did we left off? We talked about Mary.
Verna.
I was just
Verna was the nice one.
Yep. I connected my grandparents to the story that Verna's son had shared about
having to live without her.
Yes, about having to live without her husband.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Also, I don't know why it says my name says where, but
yeah, I was like, I don't think that's her name, but
I'm not sure what's going on.
You are now.
It doesn't say that. Like, it won't show on the video or anything.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So Verna was the nice one. Mary was nasty. I'm trying to think of what else I just felt like they just did not do it justice whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And they also, which they didn't talk about this in the show, but she told us at the one-on-one, there was something in the neighborhood that was like ancient, that was really attracted to our house. However, she couldn't get a good read on it because it kept staying away from the house because it could like tell like that she was there.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is Amy, right? Amy Allen?
Yes. Yes. Sorry. It was Amy.
Figured.
And then, so my daughter.
Who's adorable, by the way.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you so much.
Cutie.
Thank you. So she's very, like, I'm going to say intuitive, but that's not what it is. She's a medium per what Amy said.
I was going to ask if she still had.
It's not as bad as it. It's not as bad as it was. Again, they downplayed that a lot too. But Bella, so we didn't tell Bella, obviously, that these people were coming because she was 3 at the time, so she had no idea what was going on. Yeah. But Janelle, the one producer, was there 2 nights before Amy came to do her walkthrough. And Bella said to Janelle, she was like, "Oh, your friends are coming. My friends told me." And Janelle was like, "Wait, what?" And she was like, "I thought you guys didn't tell her." And I said, "We didn't tell her." She was like, "No, my friend's on the porch." She was like, "They won't come in because your friends are coming." Mhm.
Whoa.
Oh my God. Why did they not share that? Like that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would have been good TV.
Mhm.
Why did they leave that shit out?
Yep.
But
They
you could
all
definitely see her terror when they were filming in the room in the
Oh, yeah.
closet. And
She kept
obviously we
looking
know
over her
that
shoulder.
and obviously they had a
Mhm.
camera over there because she looked almost directly into it. But the look
Mhm.
on her face, and I think we talked about this the first time around, is pure terror. Get me out of here. I don't want to be in there. And it almost
Yeah.
sounded like she said, yeah, he's in the closet. Like he's there now.
Yeah, it sounded
Yeah.
like she meant he was
Yeah,
right
and
there.
it's funny because so the crew is skeptic. They're all skeptics. They'll tell you all of it.
Really?
However, our house was one of the most activities that the crew has ever experienced,
Wow.
per their words. And Wolf was actually in the closet. And when my daughter said, he's in the closet, he was like, oh, you mean me? And she was like, no,
No.
he's in the closet. And Wolf was like, okay, cool. Like, great. Like,
I'm not in here
hurry it
alone.
up.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Yeah. He's like, can we hurry this up, please, so I can get out of the closet?
I think we need
God.
5 more takes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that. They didn't talk about that. She also called her a beacon. So so she called her a beacon.
A tiny
Like a beacon of
supernova.
light, asking for people are drawn to her for help, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And when I was pregnant with her, I was like, activity was really rampant around me. And I was getting like scratched and pushed and like all that. And Amy had said that she doesn't know how I survived my pregnancy between what was happening to me and what my daughter's abilities were.
Oh wow.
Because she was such a beacon. She was like
Emanating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm. They also did talk about, so Amy said that, so at first, this is going to sound, I don't know, but so me and my brother kind of switched in and out of the room on and off. And when Amy kind of was talking to us, she started talking about how someone was bipolar. And she kept saying that, oh, like I'm getting a lot of like ups and down and emotions and cold and this and that. And my brother and I are very opposite ends of the spectrum. He's very like emotional, will cry if the wind blows the wrong way, very in tune. Me, I'm more like, I rarely cry. I don't show emotion. It's not my thing. And I remember panicking, thinking that she was going to tell me I had a mental illness that I didn't know about. Like, I remember like internally panicking. And then we were like, oh, well, I was like, me and my brother switch on and off. And she's like, oh, that's what I'm picking up. I'm picking up 2 different. And I was
Different
like,
people.
2 different personalities and everything. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like what she was talking about. And they didn't touch on, she said that she went in the basement. So my room is in the finished part of the basement. When she went down there, she said it was wall to wall dead people. She compared it to a concert.
Oh my God.
Fun.
Yeah. I also don't know why my camera, can you guys see my camera going in and out?
Yeah, it's zooming in and out.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay.
You know what? We just roll with it.
Who else is joining us today? I mean,
right. I mean, sometimes we think my dad joins us, but I don't think he'd be messing with your camera. He'd be doing it with mine.
Yeah. So she said it was like, she compared it to a concert where you'd be shoulder to shoulder because they were trying to get to me because I'm a medium, but I'm more closed off. I'm not really open. So she said that that's what they were doing. They were like lining up to talk to me.
Oh my
knocking
God.
on the door. Hey, Kayli, can you help us? Kayli, hello. Oh man.
So are you still closed off or have you explored that at all?
No, I mean, I can see things like randomly, but I don't open myself because you can't get the good without the bad. And I don't want to entertain the bad.
The bad.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty closed off. So yeah.
Yeah. That is completely understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've hit on a lot of the questions that I had started putting down to ask, but I know that there is curious, is any of the family still at that house?
Yes. So since the show, my dad has sadly passed.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry for your
Um,
loss.
Thank you. He passed away at the end of 2021.
Okay.
My mom has since moved to South Carolina.
Oh.
I have recently moved out. I moved out in September. However,
Okay.
my brother and his wife and child, well, now going to be 2 children, are currently staying there, are living
Okay.
there right now. Yeah.
And is it quiet? Or are they having any issues?
Not really. I mean, there's some residual stuff,
Mhm.
but not like it was.
It's like a walk in the park compared to what you used to have.
Sure.
Yeah. hmm
Sure.
Definitely.
Wow.
And does Bella remember any of the stuff that happened when she was younger, when she was that age?
No, she doesn't talk
Good.
about it.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
it's probably best.
Yeah. But it's funny because Amy had went out and found somebody to like take care of this bad stuff in the house.
Mhm.
It was good for like a week and then it ramped up. So basically it hid and then it just got pissed off.
Mm, yeah.
Sorry for I don't know if I can swear.
Oh,
You can
or what.
swear.
honey, we swear all the time.
We swear a lot.
Okay, good.
Pissed off
Um,
is light.
Yeah.
That's very late.
So it got really pissed off and started ramping up. And then we actually had to call in. Oh my God, I can't think of their name. But she was actually on the show. Her name is Holly. She was on the show, but she was part of like this group.
Mm.
Something Matrix, maybe.
Is it Spirit Mechanics?
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
Amy's group. Yeah. Or Amy's
Yes.
friends
Okay,
with
yes.
that group.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. They had to come in because it was so bad. Like
Ugh.
it was like the worst it had ever been. Like I had people like spirits attacking me in my sleep. I was having these
Oh my
crazy
God.
dreams. I had people, some of them can like astro project
Mhm.
and like some of the group members. And the one guy was like, yeah, I astro. Now they would always let us know when they were doing it. And he was like, you had like a line of people in your bedroom. And when I asked them why they were there, they were like, oh, she can help us. And he was like, no, she can't. Like, she doesn't want to do this. Like, leave her alone. And
Mhm.
some of them were nice, I guess. And some were like, oh, I'm so sorry. And like left. And then other spirits were like pissed off that I wouldn't help them.
Entitled spirits, huh?
Yeah. Like, sorry, guys. And yeah, so they were, yeah, so they had to come in and they helped us. They did a great job. They got rid of almost everything that
Wow.
was bad there. Yeah, there were some
Wow.
crazy things there that sometimes you think about and you're just like, you never thought that you would hear that
Mhm.
stuff, like some kind of like lizard dragon thing from like another realm. And I'm like, it sounds like something out of Supernatural. I don't know if you guys have
Right.
ever watched that show,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I do. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it literally sounded like something out of that show. And I was like, okay,
A
but I mean, I'll
demigorg.
believe you guys. Yeah, like something just crazy. But no, yeah, it was bad and it kept like attaching itself to Bella. Like Bella was its
Mhm.
main focus.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's a tiny
Well,
supernova.
innocent.
Yeah. hmm Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that one of the other clients we talked to, I think Randy, mentioned Holly also. I think that she came back to his place after
Yeah.
the Dead Files left and worked with him on cleaning
Yeah.
up some of it, the stuff. That name is ringing a bell. I think it was Randy. But yeah, so she must be. And I just recently met somebody in the Dead Files group chat on Facebook named Holly. And she just mentioned that she was friends with Amy and stuff.
Mm.
And I told her to tell Amy that we want her on the show. But then now that I'm putting all that together, I'm wondering if that's the same Holly.
Probably her. Yeah, she was.
Could be.
At that time, I don't know if they're still friends, but at the time that we met her, they were friends
Mhm.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And we still keep in contact with her to this day. Like she's actually become a family friend.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so she's great.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mhm.
All right. Is there I don't know if there's any tea like this you want to spill, but since the show is basically canceled and it's probably not coming back, and certainly Amy and Steve will not be ever working together again. Did you get any kind of a vibe between them that there was not happiness there between them, that they didn't get along? Because we've had other clients say that they noticed that.
No, I didn't get that vibe, but the only time you ever saw them together was when you're sitting across from them.
Yeah.
But I will say this, he's very straightforward, but he is a very nice man. He's very honest about being a skeptic. Like, that's not a front for the show. He's very adamant about that.
Yeah.
And he talks, at least on my episode, he talked highly of Amy. Like, he explained everything and how it works and whatnot. Like, I didn't get a bad vibe.
It's still in the pre-COVID stuff. I think it's COVID that really
maybe
pushed that or drove that apart.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
So do you remember the sequence of events from, did Amy come in first and then go about her way, or did Steve come in and just talk with you and then Amy came in later to do her walk? Because it seems like what we've been hearing from other clients is that it's opposite of what they show on the show.
Yeah. So I believe, if I remember correctly, Steve came first.
Okay.
And then they sent us to a hotel for the night, like in the middle of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy came and did her walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like a couple days later, we did the one-on-one. Like, it wasn't very much like boom, boom, boom. Like, it was okay, let's say Steve came on like a Saturday. Like, it was an all day thing, or a Sunday, like one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amy came, let's say, on like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it was like a few days later we did the one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's pretty much what we've been hearing too. And it's weird that the show flips it. It shows Amy in the beginning saying, "Oh, I don't like this." And then they go 19 hours earlier and they show Steve talking to people. And I'm like, why do they flip it? It actually seems more credible to leave it the way it actually happened.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would flip it, but I don't know why they do a lot of things on that show. We also have been hearing that the reveal, obviously we know the reveal is longer than the 10, 15 minutes it's on the show. Mm-hmm. How long was yours? Because we've heard some like very, very lengthy ones.
Yeah, it was probably about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, which, I mean, it doesn't matter now because, like you said, the show's being canceled and she's no longer on it.
Right.
They give you time to talk to her and like ask questions.
Oh, nice.
However, I feel like it should be the next day because your mind is
so that you have time to,
you don't have time to process. You don't have time to think of questions. You don't have time to like think. And then it's kind of like, okay, yeah. And she's like, do you have any questions? And it's kind of like,
I probably will have a million by tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's like
but you're going to be gone. So.
The end of a job interview when they're like, well, do you have any questions for us? And you're like, yes. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
So it's very much like, okay, like this is just, it's a lot thrown at you for the reveal. It's just like, boom, like just thrown at you. So, but that's like, I mean, again, I'm not surprised the show's being canceled, especially because more people are talking about I've noticed more people are talking about their experiences.
Yep.
And it's just, I understand it's a TV show, but they definitely made it more Hollywood than it should have been.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Well, and what we're finding is like, and this was in your case too, there's stuff that would have made really good TV. Mm-hmm. Why would they cut that out? I understand they have to cut stuff because there's a lot of stuff that's in there and they got to narrow it down. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why they would cut stuff that makes it more of an interesting story, makes it a more scary story.
Or in the way that we had with Laura is they made her family out to be extremely racist. Yeah. And they were not. at all. And the way that they cut it is like we came in and we're like, oh, we got to let her talk first because we just don't, like it was her ex-husband at this point, and we're like, and she's like, so first things first.
They got everything wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, that one's
Yeah.
that's messing with people's like
It's not
who they
okay.
are.
I know, because then their coworkers and stuff are going to watch the show, and she said, she's a hairstylist, and she said she gets clients coming in and going, "Are you the one that was on the Dead Files?" And then she'll be like, "So they form these opinions of her and her family, where absolutely, in fact, the opposite of what the show portrayed, and that's dangerous. I mean, I don't like that. That's not okay.
Yeah. No.
But in your case, I feel like they would have been better off talking about the stuff that you're telling us, because it sounds way scarier than the stuff they showed on the show.
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, when I did my interview with Steve, it was funny because he kept cutting. Like, I kept talking and he kept going, okay, we got to cut because you're going off script. And I'm like, off script? I'm like, this is my story. Like I can't go off script. What are you talking about? And he brought up something like, it's something like it was so minor. Like, let's say like the water being left running or something, like somebody turning on the water. Like we know like I'm using that as an example, but something so minor. And I'm like, okay, but bigger things are happening. I said, and so Janelle was one of the 2 producers on my episode. And I was like, well, she told me I could say like this, and this. And he was like, well, I have it written this way. And I'm like, take it up with your producer. Like, because I don't know, but this is my story. But yeah.
That's so weird. Why not just let you say whatever you need to say and they can cut it later? I mean, that's their job. They're going to do it anyway. They're going to edit it however they want to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Wow. That's bizarre. Yeah. The more we learn about this, the more I'm not surprised.
Which is such a bummer, because I've watched it since it first aired, because when it was first airing, I was living on my own down in Midwest Central Kansas area, long way from any like people I knew.
Civilization.
I'm trying to be very nice. It was not a good time for me there, but I watched that and Mr. Baggy Pants on that show a lot. And that was a little bit more when
we can't say his real name because he's another paranormal investigator who's very very popular. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
We can't say his name because he'll sue us.
Yep.
Oh.
But anyway.
But back then, I felt like he did a little bit more history of the on the show, and like a little bit more was not always just like, "Come here, demon, and let me talk to you," in that exact voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, that's when I started watching this, and it's like, oh, it's really kind of cool. Really like Amy and blah blah blah. And now the more that we're uncovering it, it's like going and looking at something from your childhood, and you're like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah, it kind of ruined the show for me. Doing the show, it kind of ruined the show, because I'm like, I get you guys have a TV show to make, and I get this is how you make your living, but like, this is my life that I'm living, and you're just switching the narrative to fit your narrative.
Yeah.
And Laura said the same thing.
Yeah, she did.
And
she said she used to love the show and hadn't watched it since. And her episode was season 4. That was a long time ago.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And they asked her to do one of the revisits. And she said no.
Yeah, no. If that like ever came about, we would probably say no too, just because no.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it since my episode.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Now, did you, because we've heard this from a couple of the clients too, did you guys have anything? We've heard maybe not the most careful when they were covering pictures or taking things off walls. Things in one episode, they left a lot of stuff behind, or opened closets to make it look messier or more disheveled than the house was when they walked in.
Well, my mom is a neat freak, so the house was spotless when they came. But we did find like black duct tape for months and months after because they put it in like the weirdest spots. You were like, for what? No, the only issue we did have, which they lied to us about, but again, we knew Amy got sick during her walkthrough. So she threw up.
Oh.
And they used the wrong cleaner on the hardwood floor. So it like streaked. And the PAs, when we
and
got
it takes
back,
the varnish off.
yeah, so like the two like PAs on the crew were like, oh, like all the mud. And we're like, all the mud, you guys cover the floors. What are you talking about? Like from their shoe. Because they came in like a cold month, like November. So it's like muddy and like whatnot. And my mom was like, no, it's not mud. Like, no. And then she overheard Amy talking to her assistant when she was at the house for the reveal, talking about throwing up in our house. And my mom, and we were like, okay, we knew you threw up because we could tell by the floor. But that was like the only like issue. But no, like they didn't like, the only thing that was annoying was my daughter she's very girly and she's whatnot. So her whole room was Disney things. And because of like Disney, you can't have that. Her whole room looked bare. Like I just remember being like, okay, people are gonna think like, okay, you have your kid with a mattress and 4 walls. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So no, they had to take out. Yeah. And it also like they make you take down all like the pictures. And I'm like, for what? This isn't like accurate. But they said it has to do with like people who are in the pictures who maybe don't want their face on camera. And
I can
I'm like,
see that.
Blur them. Like you have that ability.
That's true.
I know that they, you know, so like Laura talked about that she had several picture frames that were broken because like they go in and show Matt covering some of the stuff, but he only does it for the shot. And then they have a crew go in and move things, cover things, do whatever they need to do. And I'm curious now if some of that then started going towards the family having to do that, because now we see in the last,
now the family,
at least the last season, they weren't covering anything.
Yeah. They just made us take out like photos that had other people. Like we could leave our photos because then they would take them down. Our photos, anything Disney. Anything with like a label, like if we had like, you know, like Coke products, Pepsi products, anything like that. We either had to like cover with tape or just get it out of the way. But no, we left like painting. Me and my mom had some paintings and all that. Like we had all of that. But they did actually forget to take down a picture of my daughter because they put it back up after Amy did a walkthrough. After Amy did her walkthrough, and it was a picture of my daughter's newborn pictures on a Buffalo Bills Jim Kelly football. And they left it up for the reveal. And when she walked into the house, she was like, oh my God, look at the baby. And she's not supposed to see what any of us look like until we're sitting in front of her. So it was like a big thing. The producers were like, how could you forget to take down that? It was like a big canvas that we have in our living room. So it was like noticeable, obviously, when you walk through the door. And that was like the only like big issue thing with pictures, but that was on them. They forgot to take that down. But no, we didn't have anything broken that I remember.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Just your floors mashed.
Just the floor. Yeah.
Somebody was just asking in the Dead Files group, but they wondered if Amy had ever thrown up on a walkthrough before, because she will get real sick sometimes, you know, and she'll say, I feel like I'm going to throw up. But of course, they're not going to show that. But
yeah, well, now you can say yes.
Yes.
And
you're probably not the only one either.
No, because I know that there's, I think at least in one of the revisited ones that came up, like Amy had gone into the hospital after the walkthrough. Really? So she's had some that were very, very detrimental to her that she had to go to the hospital for afterwards. And then it delayed doing the reveal because of her having to recover.
Yeah. Well, that's why she ended up leaving. Well, it's one of the reasons.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think there's a few reasons in there.
There's a few, but that's a big one. She's just healing. She did a live on TikTok last week, maybe.
Yeah, it was last week.
And her friend drank wine and dished, and it was pretty.
I saw her
good.
a post that she put on Instagram on Saturday that said, was it like, note to self, don't drink the juice while talking.
She was calling it grape juice.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care how nervous I am. I'm not going to drink grape juice at my lives anymore. And I wrote back and I was like, I'm all for the grape juice. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, she said something about it like that was the first day she was feeling fine again. And that was like a Saturday after a Monday night.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I hope she's feeling better. I mean, not just from the wine. I mean, in general.
So I do have one other question that I was curious about. And I know you mentioned earlier that your mom had gotten a phone call from Verna's children, but have you guys had any interactions with them over the years or anything?
Like here and there, we would talk to them. I know when my parents first bought the house, there was a lot more contact. Again, they were younger, there was more contact. Things started to like act up a little bit when we first moved in. Granted, I was like 5 or almost 6 and my brother was like 4. So we don't remember, but my mom would like ask them like, hey, did you guys ever experience anything weird? And they would, but they always like attributed it to like one of the other kids doing something. Like say they heard walking around, they'd be like, oh, that's like so-and-so just like out of his bed when he shouldn't be out of his bed, or like things like that. Like they always attributed it to their other sibling doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But then like when we started talking about the activity, they were like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I feel like that was kind of like that era though too, like that you just you didn't talk none of this stuff was talked about. You don't talk about it like it's a cult. It's something like that. You just don't want to bring any of that about.
100%.
I'm glad that people are feeling more comfortable talking about that stuff now, because it's affecting a lot of people who either have had to shut it down or pretend like it doesn't exist or think that they're going nuts or whatever. It's good to talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want us to know or want our listeners to know about your episode, about your family, about how's Bella doing, by the way?
She's good. She's gonna be 9 in April.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's doing good. She loves gymnastics. She's very strong. She's very strong-willed. She gives me a run for my money. But she still is a sweetheart though. She is as sweet as can be, but very independent, very headstrong. Yeah.
Oh, good for her.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, happy birthday in April to her. As you're saying that, I'm like, my dog will be 9 in April too. My Talon. She's a little bit different. She's also challenging at times, but she doesn't talk back.
I have a dog that talks back, but
yes, you do. You have a few of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything about the episode. No, just like everybody said, it's not what most people say. It's not what they portrayed. I'm trying to think if there's any like more tea.
Well, I mean, there's always an opportunity to come back and share more tea or, other things too, if you want.
Yeah, if you think of anything, let us know. Yeah. All right. So this is the question. This is a new thing. You're the first one. Okay. You're the guinea pig here. We're trying this.
Okay.
So we have a bunch of questions that I have found. A friend of mine on Facebook posts these questions, question of the day, and then it sparks some really fun answers. But so I grabbed a bunch of those and I thought, I'll just like rotate through them and give them to people to answer. And the one I gave to Kayli today is, if you had to do one leisure activity daily, every day for the rest of your life, what activity would you choose?
I would honestly probably choose swimming.
Oh.
I am like, I always say like I was like a siren in a past life, or like a mermaid or something in a past life.
Sure.
I love the water.
Oh.
So I would definitely say swimming.
All right. That's a great answer.
That's a
Cool.
fantastic answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm
Well, thanks.
sitting wondering what I would do.
Yeah. I'd
It
probably
took me a while to think about
drink
like
wine and
what
watch
I
TV.
wanted to say.
Cuddle my dogs, watch TV,
Mm-hmm.
drink wine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry about all the technical snafus.
Okay.
I didn't light my incense. It's probably my fault because I didn't light the incense, but
That's
we'll
okay.
see. But thank you. We enjoyed talking to you. It was a lot of fun. Glad we could hear more of your story and
Mhm.
clear up some stuff that people might not know or wouldn't know from just watching your episode. So that was super helpful, super cool.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of
I
course.
enjoyed it.
Great. Okay.
Yes. Thanks, Kayli. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we'll stay warm over there because I'm sure you guys have a bit of snow.
Actually, no, there's no snow right now. We
Oh,
had
we
our
don't have any
winter
either.
storm. We had our winter storm a couple weeks ago. Like
Mhm.
everywhere was shut down. We were all snowed in for a few days. And yeah, no, we're good. We're good now.
God, isn't it crazy?
All
This
right.
winter's been just nuts. It was like
Yeah.
50 some degrees today. It's 8:30 and it's 44 degrees right now in middle of February.
Minnesota.
I can't even. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's like
can't.
high 30s here, but the sun's been out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been
Oh my
nice here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Crazy. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will keep in touch. Okay.
All right. Sounds
Bye.
good. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.